Okay, just want to do a little update on my P38 right now. I'm doing the wing lights, the red and the green. Let me show you what I've got set up here. Okay, so I've got fiber optic running. What I did, see if I can get that close enough so you can see it well. Okay, there's a little molded bubble there where the light goes, and so what I did is I used two different drill bits, one to just pilot the hole and the other one to excavate what needed to be excavated to put in the appropriate size fiber optic to it. Okay, and then just using electrician's tape on the inside to help seal in the transmission of the light through the fiber optic, and then underlaying tape beneath the LED here to light block it underneath. And then what I did was I drilled out the tip. Here's my red one. So I drilled out the tip of the LED so that the fiber optic will fit into it to give it a much more direct illumination. And then I put some canopy glue to help secure it, and then just taped over it again to light block it. And so now there's going to be a nice bright green coming through. And then after I paint, do all my exterior painting, I'll trim away the excess fiber optic there, and then I'll have my nice bright green formation light there. Okay, and so what I'm doing right now is setting up the red. Okay, and now I'm going to just taper down. And what I did initially in feeding this through, I then took my heat gun and pressing this down, the fiber optic down, warmed it enough to form fit it so that there will be plenty of room for the wings to, the top and bottom parts of the wings to come together, because that's an issue that you often have to deal with when you're trying to put lighting down toward the end. Even if you do very low profile lighting, SMD or fiber optic, usually on a lot of these kits, the tip to the wings are engineered to have nothing in between there. So by melting, or not melting, but by warming that to help nudge it down, you help make that fit remain tight at the ends of the wings. And that's something I checked as I was working on it. And I've got a little piece here of the electrical tape from the other one to tape off the last bit, just to help make sure that all that light stays contained. Okay, so that's all I'm doing there. And then I'll put the bulb LED here, but before that I'm going to under tape this again for the light blocking. Piece just doesn't want to go down very well. Probably because I'm filming right now, and that's why it's not behaving. Because the other piece just went down perfectly fine. But now that I'm filming, of course, there are going to be issues. Okay. There's that. Okay. And now, where did I put my bulb? Oh my goodness, I just set it down here somewhere and now I can't see it. There's my... There she is. Okay. I'm just going to put my resistor on. Okay. And it's over. And I'm going to solder it. I'm really glad that I got into doing electrical with my kits. It's a lot of fun to give them that extra bit of oomph with the lighting. Now I'm going to take some of my heat shrink. Now I'm using wrapping wire. I use this and magnetic wire, which is extremely low profile. The magnet wire is just fantastically nice to use for nice tight spaces, and the wrapping wire is very low profile too, not as radically low profile as the magnet wire, but still very low profile. Allows you to do what you need to do, and if you have the wrapping tool, it just makes the whole thing that much easier. And of course it's not going to go easy right now because I'm filming. Feed in there, there you go. So if you haven't done any electrical before, you've been maybe intimidated by it. I started doing it by just watching some YouTube videos for one of my Star Trek builds that I did a couple of years ago. One of my 350 scale Enterprise builds. I kind of went through the basics of what I have learned myself to show how easy it is to do it in that regard, and doing the lighting on my XB35. I just love that the cockpit is lit. I love that I've got the red and green formation lights. It just gives the model that much more oomph, I guess is a way to talk about that. And it's just a lot of fun, actually, and you end up getting a lot of supplies off and on, and other kits that I've bought off of eBay that have come with the lighting, because the person that was selling the kit was kind of to the point where they just didn't want to deal with it and maybe kind of chickened out or something. You end up picking up things like a whole box. I mean, this person obviously was going to get serious about it, but then they just kind of gave up. I mean, they labeled all of these things. All the lights are in there. This came with a kit that I bought. It was a Star Trek kit, I think. I had 2 of these things. Even came with one of the Fleischer boards. So if you just decide to get into it, you're going to find out how easy it is and how much amazing product is out there for doing all kinds of lighting. I mean, it's not like it was when I was a kid with these incandescent bulbs that would burn out really quick, and where there were only, you know, like red or green LEDs in Radio Shack. Now there's a lot more available, and it's just amazing what you can do with the technology that's now at hand. And another thing I'm going to be doing with this kit, I'm not going to put the motors into this kit like it kind of shows you can do. Just build these motors up, then you can have one of the sides open so you can see the engine in there and everything. I'm not going to do that because, as it turns out, these little electric motors that I bought from some of my Star Trek builds, these will fit, and I'm going to have turning propellers on this one. I'm just going to have to play with the speed setting to figure out how I want those to be spinning. So I'm really going to go gangbusters with this P38. But you see, all I'm doing here to do this wiring, it's really, really simple. So I encourage anybody that's wanted to try it but has felt that it was just maybe beyond their skill set. This was beyond my skill set until I watched a couple YouTube videos, and now I've got supplies and stuff myself, and doing this on, you know, all of my builds. I just finished, I was talking about it in my previous video to this one, how I just finished the Boba Fett Slave 1 spacecraft, and I didn't film any of it, and maybe I should have, but I just kind of was feeling like I'm going to just knock this thing out. It's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I'm tired of it just still sitting there. And I lit that thing up, and it looks great. The engines, I have flickering white LEDs in there, so it gives you this nice pulsing engine effect. Let me turn over here and I'll show you what I'm doing now. I'm gonna braid these wires, okay, just to kind of keep them contained with each other so they're not splaying all over the place. And I go in excess with the red and blues because I know I'm not going to need this much in the kit, but I want to have enough left over so that when I do cut it out, I've made all the connections I need to make, and I have enough wire in it, because I'm going to end up using the cut pieces in other builds. So it's always good to have some pre-braided power and ground ready whenever you need it. So this is all I do, and it's so simple. And with my with that Boba Fett Slave 1 build I just did, That's all powered off a 9-volt battery that's contained within the ship itself, within the model. And so I'm not going to seal the top part of it down so that I can remove it and then change the battery if I need to. But I also put a little flip switch in there so you can just flip it on because it's got the battery in it. And it looks great. So now I'm gonna feed the LED if I can pick it up again. Big finger of mine. Feed it into the hole that I drilled into the LED. Okay, so the LED is a little bit too long right now. So what I'm gonna do is just trim some more of this fiber optic away. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to secure that. Just so it doesn't move about. Okay, there's my canopy glue. Now, canopy glue is probably a bit of an overkill because, you know, I did pre-drill a hole into the LED and everything, but, you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Get that bubble out of it. There we go. Now I'll just secure a little bit more of this. And I'll just trim that excess so that I don't risk the gluing of the wing itself on the edges. And so now I'm going to just cover that last bit right there to light block it so that none of the light shoots back. And then once the canopy glue dry, actually, you know what? It's going to dry anyway. There's no point in waiting on it. So now I'm going to light block that. Okay, and then one last little bit there to finish it off. And so now that last little bit of the fiber optic is covered and the LED is completely covered. And now I'm going to strip the ends here and then I'll power it. I already tested the bulb before. Oop. Just dropped my little stripping tool. And there you go. Okay. And notice how much of that red is really in that fiber optic now. You can even see it now, and that's by doing that electrical tape. It just more and more of that light is just being trapped in there and feeding its way through. Where did my stripping tool drop to? There it is. So you have your wrapping tool